it has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no rest. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and there I don't dictate.
Well, very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm your host, Xander Gibb, and coming up on today's show, we will be breaking down some of this week's hotter topics with my good friend, Tony Losacco, who is covering for Ty this week. And in part two, Leda Beluche joins us from the GirlieVegan Show. More to come in a mere moment. You can interact with us during the show in the chat room at the bottom of the show page. Keep scrolling down. If it doesn't let you comment, that's because you have to join with either Facebook or Twitter with one simple click. You can also call us on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061 with your questions, comments, anything you want to chime in with or share with us. You can also tweet us. You can tweet me at Xander Gibb, Xandergibb, capital X, capital G. You can also tweet Tony at the Full Story 2014. That's FULLSTORY 2014. And Leda's wrong teeth in today. Leda's Twitter handle is GirlieVegan, GirlieVegan, capital G, capital V. Tweet me if you're too shy, and I will make your point even for you. There's still time to vote in our poll at xandergibb.com. Are you in favor of Obama's deal with Iran? Yes or no? Make sure you go to xandergibb.com right now and share your response so we can give the result of the poll later on in the show. You can even give us a call on this subject or absolutely anything you want to get off your chest. Once again, the number is 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. So my co-host today is Tony Losacco, a writer, broadcaster, libertarian, and free thinker with an uncommon approach to the issues going on in the world. Please welcome me in joining. Please join me in welcoming. I'm not with it today. Please join me even in welcoming the fabulous Tony Losacco. Welcome back to the show, Tony. How are you?
Good, Xander. How are you?
I think I'm coming down with something in my brain. My brain is saying sleep, Xander, sleep. But I can't sleep during the show. Well, not this week, anyway. So how has your week been, and anything interesting happened with you?
No, same old, same old. It's raining in Florida again. That's not news.
It's raining? Oh, well, the sun is shining here, so maybe I should gloat for 5 minutes. Ha ha. You got beeping in the background. Is your muffin ready in the microwave?
Yes. That's not me. That's Kiko cooking his Hot Pocket.
Kiko's having Hot Pockets. How cliched can you get? Are they the healthy Hot Pockets or the regular kind?
I'm sure they're healthy. If he had his way, it would be gluten-free.
Absolutely. Yes, it's the way to go. We're going to be talking about gluten-free and veganism and healthy stuff in part two with our guest Leda from the GirlieVegan Show, who has an ideology that you can eat your way to health. So we will be talking to her in part 2. So let's, without further ado, let's run right into the first topic. So it seems a majority of Republican voters were drawn to Donald Trump's latest brainwave this week. Yes, folks, he does have a brain. It's covered by that mop of allegedly hair that's on top of his head. And apparently 63% want a plan to deport 11 million illegals and then let a select few return. Now, Trump said as president he would deport all the undocumented immigrants and then allow the good ones, in parentheses, to re-enter the country through an expedited process and live in the U.S. legally, though not as citizens. We've got to move them out. We're going to move them back in if they are really good people, Trump said. So who gets to decide who is good or not? Now, this is clearly more of a rant, and requiring illegals to return to their home countries and apply for legal status from there would be an untenable process. Now, who would leave the country if they thought they might not be able to return? And I wonder if they've thought this through enough. Now, Trump's plan is being treated as a way for mass deportation, as it sounds like he wouldn't be letting many back in. And it's clearly he's clearly acting in the same disdain as he referenced illegals in the first stages of his campaign. Now, the cost alone would be huge, and deporting all 11 million would cost somewhere between $400 and $600 billion, and the taxpayer would be picking up the tab. Now, in Trump world, some considerations are clearly secondary, and he would not say how he would locate, round up, and deport those immigrants, or even how he would pay for it. So what's your initial response to this? Is this just Trump, another attempt from Trump to gain attention, or does this plan have some validity, Tony? What say you?
Well, Xander, I'm so glad you asked. I have to beg to disagree with you here. Donald Trump is exactly on the right track with this, and it's time for America to realize this. Back in the 1930s, we have some precedent for this. You know, they did not place the Jews in ovens. They didn't just think of that one overnight. Hitler first tried to relocate the Jews to another country and deport them before he started rounding them up and came up with the final solution. So Donald Trump is just following history's path. Let's hit them first, single them out, then we'll come up with deportation, and if that don't work, we have another solution for those types.
Wow.
And I do want to point that out.
Are they going to be made to sleep with the guy from Subway, Gareth, or do you think they will be put into enormous ovens? I know we shouldn't kind of make light of the Holocaust, but let's face it, some people do seem to be determined to let history repeat itself.
And you know, Xander, I should I thank you for mentioning that, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm making light of the Holocaust. What I'm doing is drawing a comparison here between the same history and the same things. And you know, whether it's illegal immigrants, whether it's Native Americans, whether it's gay people, whether it's Jews, whether it's black people, you name it, it's the same mentality. Hate and single out a single group of people to get where you want to be and use them as a stepping stone, and then by any means necessary.
Because immigrant lives matter too, you know, Tony.
They do, and he has softened a little bit, I must say. He says, oh, they're hardworking, some of them are hardworking or whatever, you know. I mean, personally, if I had my way, Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, sorry, I interrupted you. I was just going to say, isn't that just backtracking to be able to get more votes? I don't like Donald Trump. I'll be totally honest about that. I think he behaves like a bitchy little girl. And what he forgets is some of these problems are a lot bigger than he anticipates, or than anybody can anticipate. Because here's the thing about immigration: we've had a broken system for 25 to 30 years, and it's got worse and worse. And the ideology of the green card system was that we would be able to get the cream of the crop into the country, people we would want to live here, that would work and pay taxes and work for the betterment of the United States. Now, that's not really how it's worked, and the fact that it's referred to as a lottery is absolutely true. And I know people that are far more qualified than you and I, and they've not been able to get into the country. They've applied for jobs, but they couldn't get jobs because they don't have a visa, and you can't get a visa until you've got the offer of a job. So it's a very vicious circle. So now, I don't know how correct these figures are, but they're saying that there are 11 million people that are in this country illegally, and if they want to do something about it, to pussyfoot around like even Obama has done, because what Obama has done with his immigration backdoor plan, he's segregated a proportion of those illegals that do not fall into the category of the ones he wants to help. So if we're saying we have 11 million illegals in this country, and I don't know what the percentage of those are that actually have children, what about the ones that don't have children that have lived here for over 10 years, et cetera, et cetera? Should they just be left to rot? And, the whole thing is, for me, is that if you're going to make change, you have to make lasting change. If you're going to draw a line under this and do something about it and get strict, you have to deal with the problems that the failing system has created, surely. Hello?
Illegal immigration is a really tough issue, and quite frankly, I don't see it as a problem. And when they were passing Obamacare and they were talking about how uninsured people soaked the system and the rest of us were paying the bill or whatever, I said, that's that old greater good argument and not giving facts and saying, oh, they're soaking the system, right, and trying to place blame. And I really see the same thing happening with illegal immigration, okay? Supposedly these people are on welfare and getting free this and free that and free that. Show it to me. That's what I say. It's the greater good argument. Now, I'll be the first person to say if an illegal immigrant commits a crime, a criminal act, they should be immediately deported. I mean, that's a no-brainer. You don't stay in this country if you came here illegally and you committed a crime. But honestly, if people are coming across this country to make a better lives for themselves and they're hard workers, I think we have bigger problems in this country. And I'm not talking about the criminal element. I am not talking about the criminal element. Yes, if somebody comes here illegally and they're a criminal, by all means deport them immediately. End of story, But with all the others, I really don't see them soaking up the system. If I had my way, I'd let some of these people in and deport some Americans. But we won't go there.
Just one second. I just saved the show. The show is just going to end. I don't know what is going on with this blog talk rubbish, but it just told me there was 90 seconds to go to the show, so I had to go run and quickly change that. Now, I think there are several considerations with regards to this. They're always talking about how poor the country is. So give every single one of those 11 million illegal immigrants papers so that they can work and pay taxes. Let's add something to the economy from this. If some of the considerations with all of this are financial, then why not actually get some money coming in from this situation? Because I'm sure most illegals would be happy to pay taxes if they got some status from it.
Or and I'm not saying this is a solution or anything like that, but just off the top of my head, off the cuff idea, if they can't find jobs and they're here anyway illegally, we need our roads and bridges fixed, you know?
Yeah.
But let them do work in exchange for getting citizenship then. But there's plenty of places in this country that need volunteers, and we need stuff like that done. If they want to come that badly and they're willing to work, then let them do community service and things like that, you know, to work it out. And I do understand the people that came legally and went through the process why they have a problem with that. I mean, we have the same circular argument, whether it's taxi cabs or licensed people or whatever. People who work for it, you know, don't want other people who didn't work for it or didn't go through that getting what they had, you know?
Absolutely.
And I do understand that aspect.
I mean, and whilst I can totally appreciate that too, here's the thing. It's 2015, and in 2015, unfortunately, there exists a body of individuals that we refer to as terrorists. Now, I would not be surprised if a number of those illegals are actually in the country as terrorists plotting our downfall. Now, one of the things that one of the very few things I agree with Obama about nowadays is that his ideology that making changes to immigration would bring people out of the shadows. So here's the thing. If you do a blanket amnesty and say there will only be one, now the UK did this and then they did several after, which I found astounding. If you do one amnesty and say if you don't come forward now, if you don't get your paperwork now, and we find you after this date are illegally in the country, then we will deport you. No questions asked. And if they did that, that would, I think, bring most people out of the shadows. Because I think that most illegals want to work and live and pay their taxes and be like everybody else. But I think that people like Donald Trump don't help when they paint the picture that every single illegal that's in the country is out there raping and is clearly Mexican and et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that ideology helps. Do you?
No, I don't. Now, one thing I must say for Donald Trump, there is one thing I like about him, which is he is not, and this is why he's so popular, he is not a politician. He speaks his mind, and he's not afraid to speak. And I think that is a very admirable quality. That's why a lot of people are drawn to him. However, you can't base political decisions based on that, because it's what he is speaking. It's what he is speaking that is the problem.
But I even question his methodology. I'll tell you the thing I like about Trump is when he's gone. That's what I like about him. But on a serious note, I just don't think he has the intellectual capacity to be able to represent us on a global stage. And I can just see him disagreeing with the leader of some country and saying, well, then we will just bomb you. And that is his gung-ho attitude, and I find that concerning. Because, you know, he's basically suggested that, you know, whatever your feelings are right now about Iran, you know, we don't want World War III. This is what everybody's trying to work against. And I'm sure he would just go bomb them. That is exactly what he would do. You know, within 5 minutes of being in office, the planes would be on the way.
Well, I mean, you don't need to worry much, because I heard he was talking, and this is actual real, there's a few articles about this. He's been meeting with Sarah Palin, and there's talk about a Trump-Palin ticket.
But it's so funny you should say that, because I was talking to someone a couple of weeks ago, and I said that I thought one of several things. I thought either he was going to run with Palin, or that was a smoke screen, and this is just to kind of like pave the way. It's going to come down to him and maybe two others, possibly Ted Cruz, and I don't know who else for the GOP nomination. And Trump is just a smokescreen, and I think he may have been paid to do this.
Well, you never know. I hear Cecil the Lion has a long-lost daughter somewhere, and she might throw her ticket in that, how popular the lions are nowadays.
Well, one would never be surprised at anything that goes on in this world. So what do you have for us this week, Tony? Tell us.
Well, apparently, and this is a true story, apparently there was a drone flying over a man's house, and his daughters were sunbathing, and there was a drone, and this was a private drone pilot flying a drone with cameras over the man's backyard. He did not like the idea that somebody was spying on him and his daughters over his house with cameras. So the man did what I would have done. If I had a gun, I don't own a gun, but if I had a gun, I would have done the same thing. He shot it down. The drone was directly on top of his house in his backyard with cameras on the man's daughters. He shot it down. He is now charged with several felonies. They arrested him for this.
Wait. What is he charged with?
He is charged, I don't have the specific charges, but they charged, I think one of them was criminal mischief, and then another was a felony gun charge for shooting in the air, directly above the air, to take this drone out. And he could be charged with a violation.
You don't own the airspace above you, do you? The ideology is that you don't
apparently
own the
not.
airspace
They might actually charge him federally, too. The federal government might get in on this. And I think it's really sad when we've come to the point in America where people can fly automated cameras into your home, basically, above your home and through your windows and look at you, and you're not allowed to do anything about it. They say, oh, well, he should have called the police. Yeah.
Oh, please. And so by the time the police get there, because it wouldn't be considered an emergency, the drone has gone.
I mean, and where is the right to privacy? Where is the right to privacy and the right to private property? This is a serious violation of everything we hold dear as far as property rights and privacy, you know?
What wasn't, didn't we lose the right to privacy? Was it the Patriot Act, I think, where we've lost our right to privacy now?
Oh,
because
yes.
If the government considers that you could possibly be involved in terrorism, then they have the right to strip your life bare. And to me, that's astounding. I mean, I know national security is of vital importance, but what if someone takes a disliking to you, Tony, and calls the local authorities and say, I think that Tony is a terrorist? And then they strip your life apart, even though you've done nothing wrong. What is to stop that from happening?
Well, that is true. However, there's an actual thing that's been going on many years before that, which is the seizure laws with drug trafficking does that automatically. If somebody called the police right now and said, say I was growing pot at my house or whatever, they could come seize my car, seize my house, seize my property without trial. As soon as they arrest me, seize it and sell it, and it takes me years in the court to fight that, and then I have to prove that I wasn't using it for drug trafficking. And these seizure laws are used against Americans on a daily basis, and it is the current law. That's how the law enforcement gets a lot of their money with the seizures. Don't get me wrong, they seize criminals' property, of course, too, but all it takes is them saying, oh, he was dealing drugs or he had drugs. And the same thing with wire transfers in the banks over a certain amount of money. If it's reportedly a suspicious activity, if the bank deems it suspicious, they freeze your accounts and take all your money.
Well, you know,
and that's part of the counterterrorism.
I'm astounded by that. But someone told me something that I was more astounded by the other day. Someone I know who I won't name was buying a house. They needed $20,000 or $30,000 for the deposit. They had to prove where they had got that money from.
Yes, exactly. I mean, this is your money. I mean, look at the congressman. Yeah, this story's about a month old, I believe, where the former congressman was arrested because he paid off a blackmailer. with his own money. And they arrested him on federal charges because he lied in the disclosure to cover up that he was paying the blackmail. But the man did nothing but withdraw his own money.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, this is the thing for me that kind of, I love America. I'm proud of my country. I'm patriotic. But what really gets my goat is how many of our rights are being stripped away as we speak. And there's not a thing that we can seem to do about it. And someone jokingly said to me, "Oh, I heard you say, Xander, that it's time for a revolution," and I agree. Well, let me make it clear. When I said it's time for a revolution, I'm not talking about anything violent, because I totally am against that. But it's time that the regular private citizens started speaking out more about the things that they disagree with, because how else is anything ever going to change? They're not doing it on Capitol Hill. They're not making a difference on Capitol Hill.
Here's a fun fact for you. Of course, this comes from my home state of Florida, and this is a local story. The county next to me, Pinellas County. The man got a visit from code enforcement, and they told him he was violating the law. And do you know what the man was doing? Barbecuing in his backyard. The video went viral on Facebook. The neighbors complained about the smoke from his barbecue, and he was visited by county officials who told him he had a cease and he was operating illegally. The smoke from his barbecue is against a county ordinance. I mean, little girls with lemonade stands, getting busted by the police. This has gotten out of hand. We have we're not living in a free society anymore. I mean,
we're not. We're not.
No.
You can't. In the state of California, you're not allowed to. Here's the silly thing. I have friends who live in San Diego, and they live right next to the beach. And so on a night, they used to light a fire on the beach in a proper controlled pit, like a fire pit.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that anymore. That's not allowed. In the state of California, I don't know if this has changed, but last year they put out an ordinance and they said you cannot have the word Jesus on your headstone anymore. Now, what happens then if you're Latino and your name happens to be Jesus, which is spelled, as we know, Jesus? So they're going to stop people having. I mean, this is the thing. I want to know who sits in a darkened room scraping razor blades against their wrists and coming up with these ridiculous laws, because how is it harming the planet environmentally for people to light fires on the beach as long as they put them out before they leave? Who is it harming if you've got the word Jesus on your headstone?
True.
Some tattooists in London won't tattoo certain words on people's bodies. If you want to have the word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious tattooed on your forehead, who should be able to stop you?
Well, that is the liberal philosophy of you don't know best how to take care of yourself, so we have to tell you how to take care of yourself or you won't do it.
Wow.
And that is the basic thought, though, behind all of these laws and all of these regulations. I'm still pissed off about the seatbelt law 20 years or so later, okay? I don't understand how if a woman can say her body, her choice, and make the choice to get pregnant, but has the choice to terminate a life, why I, in the privacy of my own vehicle, can't say my body, my choice, and have to be forced to wear a seatbelt. I'm still trying to get over that one.
That's a good point. Because you not wearing a seatbelt wouldn't kill anybody else, would it?
Exactly. It affects no other living human being. Exactly.
For sure. Now, I tell you, I want to ask you a little bit about how you feel about, obviously this week we found out about Cecil the lion. We alluded to it a little bit in the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
And this week signs were put outside the dentist's office saying, "We are Cecil," which I'm sorry, I had to laugh at that. And Cat Lives Matter read signposted on the door of the dental office and asked passers-by to mourn the death of Cecil, a lion who was lured off his sanctuary and killed with a crossbow during a game hunt this month in Zimbabwe, and apparently his brother was killed yesterday too. Nearby was another sign with a darker message for the dentist who said he killed the cat. It said, "Rot in hell." Now, since Palmer apologized for killing the lion, he has become a villain at the center of a firestorm over ethics of big game trophy hunting. He said, "I had no idea that the lion I took was a known local favorite, was collared and part of a study until the end of the hunt." He also said, "I relied on the expertise of my local professional guides to ensure a legal hunt." Now, he kept his office closed on Wednesday as he joined an ever-expanding group who have become targets of internet vigilantism, facing a seemingly endless shaming until the next issue comes along. A Facebook entitled "Shame the Lion Killer, Dr. Walter Palmer and River Bluff Dental" drew thousands of users. And Dr. Palmer's face was scrubbed from industry websites. Trophy hunting undertaken by wealthy hunters who pay tens of thousands of dollars for the license to kill protected animals for trophies and sport has long been a subject of global debate. Now, I have several points here. Yes, it's despicable what he did to the lion, and it's absolutely disgusting, and I think he should be made to pay for that. The second thing I want to say is that I wish people were just as astounded at the fact that fetuses are killed every single day in this country, and no one bats an eyelid. But kill a lion and wow, I have to emphasize, because people will write and call. I'm not saying that I agree with what this guy did. It's absolutely atrocious, because killing any living thing for sport is abhorrent to me. But here's the third thing. This is what I really want to talk about for a little bit, Tony, is how scary is it that people mount these campaigns against people and totally destroy them, attack them, share their telephone numbers and home addresses and things like that. Tell me what you think about all of this, Tony.
Well, it's funny, Xander, because I was going to address everything you just said was exactly what I was going to say, word for word, basically. The man is a despicable SOB in my book. I don't like any hunters, let alone big game hunters and people that go shooting lions for, I fantasize about the Predator movie coming true for individuals like that, and then being the hunted. But there's a legal process and a law, and if he violated the laws, they're actually talking about extraditing him. This mob justice internet mentality needs to stop. Furthermore, you've never heard me call for government regulation. I was just speaking against it and how far it's gone. However, and this is what people don't understand about libertarians, we're not against government. We don't want total anarchy, most of us. It's a very broad spectrum. But we believe that the government's place is when life is in jeopardy and to protect others. That's what you have the government for. In this case, There needs to be a law. There needs to be a very strict law, a felony law, that if you're publishing people's names and addresses and targeting them, that you have committed a felony and you will go to jail. And that is my view. We need the government to step in here, because this is not the first time this has happened. The man had to face the legal system, not mob justice. And what about his wife? What about his kids? What about his business?
Yes. But what about the times when they have printed the address of someone who's been convicted of being a pedophile, and it's not even the right address? They've gone to these houses and done stuff, and it's not even that person's address. I believe in justice, and I believe that justice should be swift. But I don't think that vigilante justice ever works, and it hurts everybody else too. It's amazingly disgusting and despicable that people kill for sport. It really, I just find it so abhorrent. And even things like, it's been tradition in the United Kingdom for hundreds of years to hunt foxes. They're seen as vermin. They make mess. They get into your trash. et cetera, et cetera. But I cannot justify for anybody the fact that you want to go and kill a living, a breathing creature just for the sake of it. Now, I have to say, I have to back that up a little. I'm going to talk a bit with Leda about this and the last part of the show, because Leda is vegan, and that means she doesn't eat meat, and she'll tell us a bit more about what that entails. But I can even see the point that if you live in a rural area and you kill animals to live, I can even see the point of that. I wouldn't want to do it myself. I wouldn't want to be a party to it. But those of us that are not vegetarian obviously are a part of it because, we buy meat and we eat meat. But this guy didn't go and kill that lion so that he could eat it or feed his family or sell it so his family could be fed. It was purely for the reason of making his balls bigger. Let's be frank.
Absolutely. Now, one thing related to this that I want to point out, which you touched on a little bit, Xander, we have, and this is where my post came in, you shared it, and I thank you for that, about let's remember what unites us all as Americans, and there's too much division.
For sure.
There are people arguing all over Facebook. The CISO lovers are belittling the pro-life people. The pro-life people are belittling the CISO people. The Black Lives Matters people are belittling the lion people. And each one is outraged at the other that they care more about their cause than the poor lion or Black Lives Matter or pro-life. This is what our nation's become. The way I see it, everybody has a cause and a burden. I'm not much of an environmentalist, honestly. I'm passionate about youth and civil rights issues, obviously, okay? So those are my passions. But don't belittle me because I don't feel I'm not going to go protest the factory that's polluting the earth, That's great. That's
exactly.
Great if you want to do that, but let me fight for the rights of, say, teenagers that are being arrested and being charged as adults, because that's my passion. But don't belittle my passion and say it's less of a cause and less worthy, and belittle me personally because I'm believing in my cause and not yours.
For sure.
And that's what I've seen all over Facebook, and it's really out of hand.
The worst thing you can ever say to me, Xander Gibb, is, well, clearly you don't care, or you would say this, or you would do that. I am a very passionate person about lots of things, and anyone who knows me will tell you that I'm vehemently passionate, and one of the things that I am very passionate about is people being cruel to animals or killing any living thing. And my friend Stephanie would turn around and say, "Yes, Xander, but you kill spiders." Sorry, I can't deal with spiders. I'm sorry. She's like, "Well, why don't you put a cup on the top and an envelope underneath and put it outside?" I'm like, "I can't deal with spiders. I cannot deal with them in my space, And but I'm the guy that makes an emergency stop so I don't kill a squirrel or a rabbit or whatever it is that's running across the road in front of me. And some people would be so stupid as to say that that's hypocritical, but I kind of don't think it is. I really do. And anybody that kind of suggests that if you don't hate this guy that killed the lion, I don't even want to keep saying his name. If you don't hate the guy that killed the lion, then you're not pro-animal. I just think it's really ridiculous. But the method and the madness of all this divide, Tony, is that while we're fighting amongst ourselves, we're not seeing what this administration is doing to our country and selling us down the river and enslaving us to the Iranians. Simple.
No, and in the meantime, Hillary gets her private email stash, which is a whole other topic.
That to me is just absolutely ridiculous. Anybody that works for the government should not be sending confidential data via an unsecured email system, and we should all be able to see the finances, the emails of politicians that pertain to their job. Why should we not know how much they've spent on a dinner? Did you see she spent $600 the other day on a haircut, and she closed the Bergdorf or Saks, whatever it was, where she'd gone for the haircut. It's all so absolutely ridiculous, and I'm actually sick of the triviality in the media. I really am, because there are people dying every day, and no one's doing anything about it.
You know, I actually read some things from it was posted by people in Zimbabwe, and they're upset that we're so upset over the line. And they had a very legitimate point. They said, you don't give a crap about what goes on in our country, the harshness, the poverty, the war crimes or anything, and you care more about a lion all of a sudden, and we don't even care that much about it, you know? And that's the perspective of some people in that country. And you got to figure what Americans look like to them, you know?
Sorry to stop you, Tony, but our next guest is in the virtual green room right now, so I'm going to bring her on, and we're going to talk to her about what she does, and also we're going to get her perspective on some of the things that we've been talking about. So my good friend Leda Beluche is an energy healer and founder of GirlieVegan.com, a one-stop shop where people can educate themselves on how to heal themselves through food and energy healing, and have the support for it. Later helps people to transform their life. So without further ado, let's bring her on. Welcome to the show, Leda, for the first time. How you doing?
Hi, Xander. How are you, honey? I'm super excited you guys are having me on today. Hi, Tony.
I'm fabulous. You're live with myself and Tony. Good.
Yes, I'm so excited you guys are talking about this. This is important to bring your awareness, so I'm ready.
So I want to first of all get a bit of background about what you're doing. Now, we often hear the terminology vegan, but I don't think a lot of people really know what that is, because people think that vegan and vegetarian are the same thing, and they're not, are they? Although they're kind of close.
They're kind of close, but they're not the same. Being vegan is a lifestyle. It's not just a diet, but a lifestyle, meaning we do not eat anything that comes from animal or wear or use any animal products, meaning nothing that comes from animal. So, for example, my shoes are not leather. Even my 5-inch heels are man-made. So we're very conscious about what we use, because it's a belief. It's a belief system and a lifestyle. We refuse to use anything that was tortured, hurt, or had a face to it. So we just do not eat anything that has to do with animals. Vegetarians are a little different. Vegetarians they don't eat meat, which I am grateful for that. But however, they're allowed to have dairy. So they're able to have dairy and eggs. So there is a difference there. So they don't eat meat products, but they do have dairy. While vegans are absolutely no exception, zero animal products. So that's pretty much the difference.
Where did this all begin for you? When did you turn around and say, okay, that's it, I'm going to be a vegan? And why did it happen?
Well, I mean, it all happened. A huge awakening happened for me. You know, I came from a very intense entertainment background. I was traveling, working with celebrities. I loved every minute of it, but I kept getting sick all the time. You know, you're on the road, you're eating junk food, you're eating even though you're eating amazing food and it could be expensive and everything, it still wasn't healthy. You're putting so much meat into your body. You're putting all these dairy products. You're run down, traveling, not enough sleep. And I just knew there was something else. And I watched a video once that I saw online, and kind of I saw how these animals are being killed for food. I mean, it's not pretty. You know, people think it's oh, they get killed, they're raised, and it's all nice. It's not. When I saw how they were tortured and they were crying, and they are conscious, they're about to die. These animals are fully aware they're about to be slaughtered. So when I saw the fear in the chicken's eye, the hens and the pigs, the cows' face, something struck my chord, and I realized at that moment that they have a nervous system, meaning they feel, they have emotions. And I said, wait a minute, we are eating, it's like we're eating people, we're eating each other. I said, no way. So I stopped, and the minute I went cold vegan, it was insane that I did. And after that, all my health issues from being tired, exhausted, or having like colds or the flu, I didn't have a thing. I was completely energized. I felt so much better. And that kind of led me to really start wondering what is, the correlation between food and healing ourselves. And then I went a little bit deeper and realized that energy, it's all energy. And so from there, I just had one awakening after another, and that's where I decided to create GirlieVegan, because I already did all the research. I already did all the healing and continue to do lots of healing. And I realized, you know what? A lot of people don't realize that this is why they're sick, or this is why they think negative, or this is why they're so upset. And, it's a little bit of everything. It's things that we watch in the news. I mean, that's where the energy healing part comes in, So I'm really...
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm really excited that I'm able to create GirlieVegan, where we don't discriminate. We love everyone. I have clients that are not vegan, but I educate them on how to heal themselves, at least through energy healing. And ironically, they start segueing, their way into veganism. And some of them may not be fully vegan, but at least they realize how red meat does have toxic energy. So it's, so it's a beautiful thing to see people awaken.
Because there's actually a clear correlation between what we put in our body, what we eat, and how we feel, and our health. And I think that people don't really see that connection, but there is a very clear connection. What we put in is going to affect how it works, for sure.
Absolutely. I lived in Texas for school for many years, and I mean, it doesn't get any better than Texas to eat tons of meat and barbecuing, and I did it. I would eat so much, and I loved meat. It was unbelievable the amount of food I would eat, and it took a toll on me, on my health, and just the way you think, and as soon as I realized all this, put the pieces to the puzzle together, I said, you know what, we have to educate other people. I just can't keep this to myself. We have to, we have to heal each other, and we have to support each other. So that was really important for me. So it made a difference.
I think it does, for sure. I kind of think it does make you want to proselytize with what you've learned, because I know for myself, I've always struggled with being overweight, and there are obviously health concerns attached to that, et cetera, et cetera. So I worked with a nutritionist and went on a cleanse, and all of the things that I took out of my diet, like dairy, coffee, anything you can think of, gluten, and a lot of these things I totally carried on. I mean, I lost about just under 40 pounds, and obviously that's kind of like leveled up. But the ideology is that the more toxins that are in your body, the less easy it is for your body to do its basic functions. And therefore, if you are someone that is prone to obesity, if you keep on feeding it the toxins, you're not going to actually be able to lose the weight or even be well. And at the time I started to do this, I was just like, I was actually so sick that I couldn't carry on. I knew I had to do something drastic.
There you go, and I'm very proud of you.
When people come along to you, thank you. So when people come along to you, what kind of things can you do for them?
Well, I can do a lot of things. For example, I help them because just like you were mentioning overweight, I was overweight too living in Texas. I lived in Corpus Christi, which every year is voted the most, it's the highest rate city in the United States for overweight, obese people. So it's the most obese city in the country. So I happen to live there, maybe no coincidence. And so I understand that, and I have a lot of clients that are obese, and they come to me for help because they can understand that I understand where they're coming from. But it's also from the energy, me being an energy healer, I also saw the emotional aspect of being overweight. Even if it's 5 pounds that the person has extra, that there is an emotional energy connection to that. So that's where I come in. So people come to me and they either want to get healthy, or a lot of it's the bottom line, they come to me because they want to be healed. They're stressed at work. or they want to shift their careers, or they're unhappy in their marriage, or they're worried about their relationship, or they're having family issues. So they come to me. We do an amazing session where we get to the root of the problem, because for me it's always getting to the root of the problem so we can acknowledge it and then shift it, transform it. And so this is what I do, and I do different healing techniques. I'm also a hypnotherapist, so I do quantum healing hypnosis therapy, which is awesome. So we do like a past life regression and the healing portion of it. So it's amazing. So a lot of people get therapy work from this. They feel it, and, I help them with their food. Half the time I ask them, what are you eating? Tell me what you ate today. And just alone hearing what they're eating, I can already tell them, well, this is what you're putting in your system. If you're eating junk food, you're thinking junky thoughts. You're thinking negative thoughts. So it's kind of like when they actually follow and they do their homework, they absolutely see the difference. Every single one of my clients have seen the difference, and that's what makes me happy, that they know it's not me doing this, it's just they're owning their power. So it's kind of like even the conversation I was hearing you guys talk about Cecil the Lion and then Black Lives Matter, and I had to agree with you both. I think there is a time where we are at a time where we do have to create a revolution. We absolutely do. Doesn't mean we're tearing down and burning down places, but we can create that revolution by, educating ourselves, knowing that we can empower ourselves to do better and support each other. The power of the community is the best thing to do. And I think, Tony was saying that people are fighting online. He is correct. I had people attack me on Twitter because I'm like going, of course, crazy over Cecil the Lion, and people are like, well, what about Sandra Bland, and what about Black Lives Matter? And I said I acknowledge that as well. And my whole thing, I told the individual, I said we all have to come together, and that's really important to understand that. They're the same. Black Lives Matter, animal being slaughtered for trophy killing, or even to be put on your dinner table, or to even be in a zoo or circus, it's the same thing. It's people that are dying in the hands of someone else. So we have to step up, join forces. It's no one's better than anyone else. No one is more special than the other, so we basically are special and we're not special. So let's just get all together, create a revolution where we let these people, the powers that be, know that we're not dumb. We're not okay with what's happening. We are just not okay. Absolutely. And we will do something about it. So I think that's really important to acknowledge, because this shouldn't have happened. That that woman or all these other people shouldn't have been dying, or immigrants or whoever. No one should be dying, period. And no animals should be killed in their habitat just because someone wants to come home and say, hey, I killed a gorilla, or I killed a giraffe or a lion. It's unacceptable, and this man should be penalized 100%.
But who should he be penalized by, Leda? Should he be penalized by the authorities, or should he be shamed and attacked publicly?
No, I think it should be a legal thing. I think it's unacceptable, right? It should be legalized. He needs to go back to Africa, and he needs to deal with the authorities there and deal with the authorities here. There should be a law that this is unacceptable, and the airlines need to step it up and say, we will not be transporting any dead animal. Like, that should be unacceptable. It's just, Cecil was also a father and a brother and, and a protector of, so it's wrong. Just like Sandra was a woman, a mother, a sister, a daughter. So it's just a friend, so was Cecil. So it's like, let's all come together and support each other. And it's really about us. Knowledge is power. I can't stress that enough. It's all about us educating ourselves and knowing what's really going on in this country and in the world, period, So, and I tell people, don't put fear into it. No, most people don't. I don't think
most people really do know what's going on over and above, what they are interested in. Because, we all have differences of opinion. But personally, I don't feel we have to agree on everything. I'm sure that not all of your friends are vegetarian or vegan, are they?
Definitely not. Trust me, they're not. That's the funny part. A lot of them are not. And Johnny definitely isn't. And he has his own views that are completely separate from mine. But it's just, it's nice to, at the end of the day, we all have a mutual respect. And the one thing we agree is that we learn from each other, and that's what it should be about.
Absolutely.
This is why I go back to knowledge is power. We need to educate ourselves on every cause. Whether we agreed on it or not, at least we know what's going on. Because, see, no one really cares about what's going on because society has made it, these powers that be have made it so we're more concerned about what Kim Kardashian is doing. So this way we're dumbing ourselves so we don't know what's going on in the world, and we're just hypnotized. We're being hypnotized.
Let me just stop you for a second. Because we have a caller. Let's take a call and see what's going on. Hi there, you're live on Xandermonium. What's your name and where you're calling from?
You should be able to guess who? It's Neil.
Mickey Mouse.
Neil, remember?
Neil?
Oh, Neil? Oh.
Yeah, remember? You remember? I went to school with Sarah. Sarah Boyle, you know the comedian that does bits for your shows, Xander?
Right. Okay. And how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. I called to support her mayoral run.
Right.
So,
absolutely. So did you have a question or a comment or something you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, I had a couple. Is it true that the subways were drastically overheated a couple of days ago in New York?
I have no idea. Did you have a question with regards to the topic we're talking about?
Well, to answer him, I heard that it was. A friend told me it was like 122 degrees in the subway. I couldn't believe that, but sure.
I thought you were actually talking about subway shops for a second, but clearly you were talking about like the train under the ground.
Oh yeah, well, what are you on topic about? I was going to listen to the whole show, but I got called away for a second, so I decided I'd come in and show some support for the last few minutes.
Aww,
brilliant!
yay.
Yeah, we got about 4 minutes left. We're talking about veganism and animal rights, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So let me place you back on to listen because we've got like 2 or 3 minutes left. But thanks for calling in, Neil.
Yeah, take care, Xander.
Thank you, Neil.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
So I just kind of I have this ideology that there's room for us all, and there's kind of like room for all of our beliefs, and there's far too many people that are totally radical about things, whatever it might be, whether it might be animal rights, LGBT issues, et cetera, et cetera. Now, all of these things are important, but I don't want to sound like an old hippie, even though I am. It's kind of, isn't it important we kind of like embrace?
Oh, hello?
Hello?
Oh, sorry, I lost you for a second. Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Yes, I'm here. Hello?
I think we both lost Xander.
Oh, Tony? Hi.
Hi. This is on the air talking, and now it's just you and me somehow. Wow, he's really having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's so weird. Oh, no.
That is. Well, I don't know how this works. We're talking, and
I think we need to call him back, probably.
Yeah,
because we're not live, are we? No.
I don't know if they can hear us, honestly. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call him back. It was nice speaking to you.
You too.
See you on the air.
Okay.
Great.
Hello, I don't know what happened. We had a technical problem. Is anybody still there?
Yeah,
everything just went dead, and but this is the likes of Blog Talk. I'll just bring everybody back on. We are kind of like at the end of the show. Would you like to let people know where they can find you, Leda, what your website is, and where they can find you on social media?
Absolutely. My website is GirlieVegan.com, so that's GirlieVegan. And they can find me on social media. My Twitter and Instagram handle are the same, and the Periscope handle are the same. It's @GirlieVegan. And my Facebook is Facebook.com/GirlieVegan. And today we just launched the new YouTube channel, which is GirlieVegan. So we're going to be launching like different shows every week called the GirlieVegan Show. So definitely go check it out. And
Fabulous.
I have my own, and I'm on the radio every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at gmtvradio.com. So please support. And Xander, thank you so much for having me. I love you to pieces.
It's been a pleasure.
I love your show.
Love you too. And if
Tony,
you check out xandergibb.com/radio, all of Leda's information is there. You'll be able to link to her website, and from there you'll be able to get links to her show. So do make sure you check her out, and I hope to come and join us again sometime later to talk to us about these issues. But for now, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yay,
and have a
Leda
wonderful week,
Beluche
everyone.
From the GirlieVegan Show. Thanks a lot.
Let's start
Take care.
this revolution.
Absolutely, and thanks to my co-host for today. Thanks to Tony for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you once again. Sorry about all the technical issues. Thank you, Blog Talk. You suck big time. So thanks a lot. Make sure, tell people where they can find you, Tony.
You can find me at The Full Story on both Facebook and YouTube. Really simple, just The Full Story. So please check out the website and the videos if you have a chance.
Absolutely. So thanks again to Tony Losacco for joining us today. Check him out at The Full Story. Thanks for being our co-host today, Tony.
You're welcome. Thank you, Xander, for having me.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, thanks to you all for listening. Thanks to Leda Beluche from the GirlieVegan Show for joining us. Thanks to Tony Losacco. Make sure you check out our guests. And let's play you out very quickly with, what are we going to, let's play the Boogie Down Bronx. See you next time. I love you all. Bye-bye.
Let's go.